Chet, second night of a back-to-back, and the offense was really precise from the very outset. I think you shot 80% in that first quarter. What stood out to you about just the kind of focus that you guys had early?
Yeah, we knew the game plan, and we came out, we executed it well, and, we really trusted each other. That's how we got those open looks, and, credit to everybody who got them and knocked them down.
You scored at all three levels. You talked at All-Star about the post fade being something that you want to go to a little bit more. How did you kind of get everything cooking at the same time tonight?
Just being aggressive, staying confident, but not trying to do too much, just taking what the game was giving me and, trying to make the most of it.
Mark was talking about just dealing with switches and getting caught with smaller defenders and learning to attack that and just the process that you go through as that's kind of a new thing for you. What's that been like for you, and how do you think you took advantage of that tonight?
I feel like I did a good job of attacking it within the action, getting out quick for plays over the top, and then also a few post-ups. I feel like a lot of it is just getting to the post-ups more, but also understanding that we're, a drive and kick offense, so not plugging up the whole offense and slowing everything down, especially with guys who can really play off the dribble. I don't want to get in their way, but I also understand that, I can take advantage of my size.
What is the balance in that there as you're trying to figure out, this is effective, but you don't want to gum up there?
Like you said, it's a balancing act. It's going to tilt more one way or the other based on the night, the matchup, the trust that I've built in that with the team as well. So it's going to consistently change. I just got to, whatever I end up doing, I just have to make sure it's kind of in the pursuit of winning, obviously.
Along similar lines, but just more specific, there was a point earlier in the year where we were talking about, Dub was catching more lobs than you, and Mark we were just in here mentioning it. Having that connection with some of the guys, them throwing you lobs, them finding you over the top, has been an emphasis. Just what's going into that in terms of just working on that, not just the connections, but the success behind actually getting the ball to you.
Just trusting the process of things, knowing that not everything's going to be perfect from day one, and things still aren't perfect. We have a lot to work on outside of being better at throwing lobs, catching lobs, playing out of actions that lead to lobs. We just got to continue to work at everything, and that's just one aspect that we've been working on. And I feel like we've definitely gotten better at it as a team. We just got to continue to work on everything.
Hey, Chet, I want to ask you about Tyus. Seems like he was one of the guys, like kind of a new wave of talent coming out of Minnesota or something. Yeah. One of the recent ones. Just what, if anything, do you remember hearing about him growing up, and his brother as well?
He was like the one who kind of started it off, him and Gary Trent out of Minnesota. They both went to Apple Valley, and I remember going to some of those games and watching them play. They were the first ones that I remember going to games, and the place is sold out. There's a huge line to get into the games, and then that kind of led up to us doing the same thing, which was huge for Minnesota, a game of basketball up there. And hopefully it continues. It's great to see kind of that, I guess you would say, I don't even know the word for it, but like just kind of seeing that come over and over, one guy to the next is huge. I think we've had, 10 to 12 guys drafted in the last few years, so it's big time.
Chet, this year, you've mentioned quite a few times that the offseason is really when you get to add to your game. But just over the course of the season, 50-plus games in, where do you feel like you've grown the most over the course of the season?
I can't really narrow it down to one thing. I've been working on so much.
Jaylin, just the way that this team attacked for 48 minutes, of course there's going to be slippage that happens in the game, but how do you feel like you guys continue to just get the car back on the road and chip away?
Yeah, I think that's one of our identities is trying to play for the full 48. Every guy brings the intensity every minute of the game, and I think if we don't, then we got the type of chemistry where we push each other to get to that. So I think that's the best way is just pushing each other.
When you see Chet go coast to coast, 7'1", and be able to kind of just pull up with a little leaner or runner in the lane? What goes through your mind?
I think it's insane, but it just shows how skilled he is. Just a great player with a ton of confidence, and we know he can do those things. And when he does it so often. We're still amazed by the things that he can do out there.
You go to every game thinking, hey, I'm bringing this, or the different things you're watching the game from the bench say, I need to bring this, different things?
I think my identity is playing hard, setting hard screens, rebounding, talking. I always try to bring those things, but again, I'm also watching the game and seeing how it is. So if the team's in a certain coverage and I need to turn the ball to get to the second side, I do that. Or if they're guarding Shea a certain way, I know how to set screens or get out early. I watch the game, but I also make sure I bring certain things to the game.
Keontae and Adam both had to play in the afternoon game today and then come back and be ready for the night game. You were part of some of those last year. What's the mindset like whenever you just got done playing a full game and then you got to be ready in case your number is called tonight?
Yeah, it's tiring. It's tiring for sure. But we have so many guys that are tough, and one of the things that we always talk about is just mental toughness. And those guys, they're tough to be able to go out there and do that and play at a high level. So I'm happy for them.
Did you prepare Gordon Hayward for the bark yesterday?
I think that he kind of just got peer pressured into doing it, but it was a funny thing, and we're trying to get Biz next. That's the next goal.
Jaylin, Mark was talking about Chet taking advantage of some of the switches and posting up smaller guys, and Chet was just talking about the balancing act of that because you guys aren't really a post-up offense. It's not really what you do, but there are advantages to doing it. When you're a big in an offense like that, what is the process of just kind of figuring out when it's time to maybe post and when it's not?
Yeah, I think for Chet, he gets that look a lot just because he's so good on the perimeter. They have to switch on him. And when we throw it to him in the post and he has a mismatch on him, then it makes it harder for the defense or for the opposing team. They don't know what to do. You can't switch them as often because if we're throwing them to the post, they don't want to see that. And just having guards that we have and Chet down there, it just changes up the game and it makes it hard for the other team.
Jaylin, your positivity has been something a lot of the team has talked about. Mark's talked about it. Is that a role that you're trying to fill, or is that just who you are shining through?
I just try to make sure that's who I am as a person. I try to have fun with the game, and my dad's always told me just have fun. Regardless of what it is, have fun, and that's when you play your best basketball. So if I go out there with a smile, go out there to have fun and joking around with my teammates, and that's when I'm having the best basketball for me.
Nick Gallo, OKC Thunder. Mark, it seemed like you guys didn't really allow them to get a lot of headwind or traction in this game. What'd you like best about the performance overall in the 48 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the first half was a shot-making thing both ways. We shot it incredibly well. They had, I think, 10 open shots. They were 2 for 10 on those. So some of it was they missed, we made. I thought in the second half we got a good approach in the third quarter especially. Good energy. We really tried to drum it up. The offense sustained, and we played all the way through in the fourth.
With Chet, I mean, we've seen all of this, but tonight he just really scores at all 3 levels and demonstrated so much of the versatility. What are you seeing from him as he's working on all of this stuff behind the scenes and then able to actually put it in the game?
Yeah, he's just refining on the offensive end of the floor. He's shooting his catch and shoots, with a lot of confidence right now, regardless of make or miss. He's also getting his size into the game around the basket, especially against switches. That's been an adjustment for him from a coverage standpoint. He kind of hit the ground running in regular coverage, and he's gotten better and better of attacking smaller defenders with slip-outs, with rolls, with us throwing it up to him. We threw it up to him multiple times tonight, and then he gets on the glass a little bit too.
Mark, with the reference to Chet, he also seemed to be a little bit more physical tonight, just kind of getting his shoulder into guys and playing through bumps, sometimes even initiating those a little bit. Is that something he's grown into more over the course of the year?
A little bit. I think he's learned how to apply the physicality. One of the things that was always impressive to me, even early on, was how physical he is on offense. He delivers hits. He's very rarely getting knocked around on that end of the floor. And so he's kind of done that from day one, and he's just learned kind of how to apply it and has done a nice job of doing so.
It looked in the fourth quarter like maybe sort of in real time Gordon was shaking off a little rust. Did you see a little more comfort as he went on there?
Yeah, I think so. He hasn't played. It's one thing to be new to the team. It's quite another. He hasn't played in a long time. He's played in almost 2 months. So it takes time to to get going, and he's also adjusting to a lot of other things right now. So like I said, not going to overreact to a small sample. Right now we're just trying to get he and Biz integrated and get them in shape and in rhythm with the rest of the team. And both of them have taken a great approach to that, and I thought Gordon took another step forward tonight.
Mark, earlier in the season, we were talking about just how last year's team just wasn't really a lob-throwing team, and this year's team, by the start of that first month, had already thrown, I think, more lobs than last year's. And obviously a component of that is Chet, but it feels like now, beyond the Chet-Dub connection, other guys are starting to throw him lobs. Do you think – what would you attribute that to? Is it more, you're putting sets out there that are welcoming that, or are guys just being more comfortable as ball handlers? Like, what is that?
I think they're more comfortable throwing it, and to be honest with you, it's been an emphasis. It's been something that we've definitely tried to highlight, especially against switches. If they're going to put a smaller guy on him and switch him, we have to throw the ball up to him and force them to bring extra help to that and make that be a threat. We just can't allow teams to just switch us and take him out of the pick and roll game. And the guys have done a great job of doing that. I thought we'd get that in the game again tonight. They switched him most of the night, and a lot of those lob plays were against the switch.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Coach, I'm sorry.
All good.
Last night you made 17 threes. Tonight, second game of back-to-back, come back with 20 threes. Talk a little bit about the shooting tonight for you.
There's obviously shot-making variance every night, so you can't rely on a certain number. But, I think we've gotten good ones the last couple nights. I thought last night, I think 27 of the 35 threes we took were really high quality. Tonight, I would expect that number to be high again, and that's what we can control. We would just want to be a team that generates rhythm shots and open shots. I thought we did that tonight. We did that last night. We've done that for much of the year. We've gotten more open threes than most teams in the league. And if we do that, we trust that we're going to make enough of them. It gives our guys confidence.
Mark, we've seen this before over the last few years, but unique opportunity. Keontae Johnson plays 32 minutes this afternoon and goes out there and is able to get more minutes. Adam Flagler as well. What did you make of just those guys getting an opportunity and making the most of this opportunity?
Yeah, we had a couple open active spots and wanted to give them the opportunity to dress in the case that, the game was like that in one direction or the other. And so glad we did that. I'm happy for Adam. He had an injury that was a long rehab, similar to the way we've talked about some of those other long rehabs. And like I've said before, there's a lot of dark days with that. He's incredibly professional, diligent, and he's worked himself all the way back to the point where now he's playing in an NBA game, so I'm really happy for him.
Mark, forgive me if you were asked this before I walked in, but Shea, I know you like to say that you don't expect certain things from anybody or you don't have expectations for anybody, but Shea by now is like a walking 30-piece. That's what he does every game. Have you come to expect that? Do you breach that kind of mantra for your expectations for him?
The thing that he's been most consistent with is his approach, his competitiveness, his temperament, his leadership in his own way. Those are the things that, because of how he's done them so consistently, I've come to expect. The scoring is as consistent as he is at it. It's still an outcome, but all those other things are part of a process that he's really refined over a period of time, and that he brings regardless of what's going on in the season or what's going on in the game. And it's really brought a steady hand to our team. And so if there's any expectation that he's formed in me, it's those things. It's the things that are controllable that he does such a great job at.